production of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Florida.
They're coming back.
Our whole lives built up to this moment.
Not going up there to make friends, right?
Hold on!
Let's show some fireworks.
Get ready for a closing cannon!
What goes up must come down.
We sacrifice for each other, no matter what the cost.
Because our survival is only possible when we stand together.
The battle is coming. Independence Day, resurgence in theaters Friday. And here today, mere mortals match up. The Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. It's day baseball. It's camp day. So that means lots of kids and Marlins and Braves. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Jeff Conine. Marlins lost to the Braves last night. There are so many mysteries in life. How do they build the pyramids? What makes a rainbow? What have you got?
Stonehenge, crop circles. I mean,
all right,
unexplainable stuff.
Add to the list. How come the Marlins can't beat the Braves this year? They've dropped 6 of 7 against a team that is in the basement of the East by a long shot.
Yeah, 6 of the 24 wins that the Braves have are at the Marlins' expense. And honestly, you look at what they've done over the course of this season. They've outscored the Marlins, obviously, but look at the ERA, 4.5, almost a full run better the Atlanta Braves are than the Miami Marlins.
The margin of victory last night was just a run. Jace Peterson certainly the hero with a home run that tied it, and then an RBI single that won it for the Atlanta Braves. So you turn the page, and it's a quick one. 2 games in less than 24 hours. This ball game for the Marlins, it's Adam Conley. 3 times this year he's gone out with no-hit stuff, including his last time out. John Gant, who came up in the Mets organization, came over from a trade, goes for Atlanta.
Yeah, you're going to see a windup from John Gant that I don't think anybody's ever seen at the big league level before. It's very unique. And Adam Conley, like you said, 5 1/3 or 5 2/3 the last time out, no hits. Only give up 1 hit to the Colorado Rockies, which is impressive. Hope we can do that again to the Braves today.
It's the Fish, it's the Braves on a camp day in Miami. And of course, tomorrow is the Fox Sports Fantasy Auction. Big day tomorrow. Craig and Preston will break it down. And get ready for a big night. of Miami Marlins baseball. Campers are still coming in. Cotton candy, a popular choice. Wait a minute, it's lunchtime. Let's go out to center field. Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson.
Anytime is good for cotton candy. Hi, everybody. And thank you, Rich. Tomorrow night, we have our fantasy auction. We have a blockbuster matchup to begin with. Cubs and Marlins, and throw on our fantasy auction. Should be a great night to raise some money.
Oh, it's going to be a great night. You're going to have so many wonderful things up for auction. Joseph Gormley is going to be there. You got to wait till you see the painting he's done. It's going to be phenomenal. There's going to be so many things that you're going to wish you had. Might have to call in and get something.
Give your opportunity. Mini board, big board. The pledge packs are already sold out. Here's the big board. Some of the great trip, the reverse road trip, one of the most exciting. The Ichiro painting we can get to in a moment. All-star game experience. You spring training player for a day. Hall of Fame experience is unbelievable. We talked with the fans who went the other night. And Doug Stein, I think his name was, had a great time with a behind-the-scenes trip that you can't get at the Hall of Fame. And on the mini board, among the great items, Cubs memorabilia, you're going to be handling a batting practice experience.
Don't fret if you can't afford some of the stuff on the big board. There's stuff on the mini board, because some people, you know, like me, how my checking account and my savings is set up, I might have to go for that Cubs memorabilia or the pitching experience. And like you said, I am donating a 30-minute hitting session.
Very nice.
For that auction. So you guys get to work with me. We hang out, have some fun in the cage.
And by the way, if there's a softball player out there, you can use these, apply to both?
Doesn't matter. Baseball, softball, doesn't matter.
All right, now the painting is the Ichiro. This game will be broadcast live on NHK Back to Japan. Joseph Gormley's done an amazing job the last 2 years with Fernandez and with Stanton last year, raising over 20, I think it was 25,000. He worked on the face. Ichiro literally put his name in Japanese on the right side of the painting. That'll be dressed up and ready to go.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who's getting ready to get his 3,000th hit. He hand-painted brushstrokes on this item.
Yes.
It's going to be huge. You know how big this is going to be, Craig? It's going international. NHK, the Japanese affiliate network, is taking this out there. It's going to be live from Japan. How about that?
Now, Joseph told him just to paint a little bit. He was just putting a little black, and Ichiro decided to put his number and his name. So now you know exactly what he painted.
That's right.
Which makes it very unique. That's going to be exciting tomorrow. But we've got a good one here coming at you. Quick turnaround. It's a noon camp day affair between the Braves and Fish next.
Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, good afternoon or good morning, wherever you're watching. If you're watching back where Adam Conley grew up, it is morning. And this is the lineup that Conley will face. The Braves bring it to you. It's brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Leading off, we have second base Jace Peterson, the hero of last night's game. Ender Inciarte in center field. Freddie Freeman over at first base. Jeff Francoeur plays left field today. Nick Markakis in right. Tyler Flowers behind the plate. Chase Darno is at third base. Eric Ibar at shortstop. And batting ninth, pitcher John Gant.
That's a high energy lineup delivery from Jeff Conine. And there is Adam Conley, Olympia, Washington. And the Northwest is home, a Washington State Cougar. And Conley, who last time out had no hit stuff, will try to beat the Braves here in this afternoon ball game. Start number 15 for Conley. His ERA is under 4. As Christian Yelich arrives, so does Miami's defense, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Giancarlo Stanton getting the day off, so Ichiro finds himself in right. In 3 days, he's been in left and center and in right. Yelich and Ozuna in that outfield. Chris Johnson gives Martin Prado a day off. Justin Bohr back in there at first. Echeverria and Dietrich up the middle, and Jeff Mathis is behind the plate. And Jeff Conine, it's an honor always to have our games on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting the U.S. Armed Forces, serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. Welcome. Thank you for all that you do. Welcome to the National League East this afternoon in Miami. 12-10 start. Jace Peterson, the hero last night, swings and misses. And an Adam Conley fastball, and the count's 0-2. Peterson last night erased a 2-0 Marlins lead with a homer in the 8th off David Phelps, and then an RBI single in the 10th. That was the game winner. This one rolled over the middle, backhand Dietrich, and Peterson, fleet of foot, beats it out for an infield hit.
Pretty good pitch by Adam Conley. 0-2, you'd want to probably see him waste something right there, try to get him to chase out of the strike zone. Didn't hit it hard, but placed it well, and like you said, fleet of foot, was able to beat it out for an infield single.
So Conley goes to work on Ender Inciarte, and then you've got Freddie Freeman right behind him. A lot of lefty bats in the lineup for the Braves. Reverse splits for Conley. If you watch Marlins live, you had a chance to see that. For whatever reason, lefties over 100 points higher against Conley than righties. 333 average for lefties, 229 for righties. And so the Braves are going lefty a lot at the top of the lineup.
Well, I think you're taking away one of Adam Conley's best weapons, which is that cutter or slider down and into a right-hander. We've seen many strikeouts on that pitch out of the strike zone, and he's not as effective with his slider to left-handers as he is to righties.
Numbers we talked about versus lefties and righties.
And it's very rare to see a split like this. Lefties traditionally do not hit left-handed pitchers nearly as well as righties, but for some reason Adam Conley hasn't figured it out yet.
Slow roller, Edge gets it, goes to first to get the outs. That's the best that the Marlins can do on a ball like that. Peterson's at second, and Ciarte, who runs pretty well, is out at first. And now here comes Freddie Freeman, the reigning player of the week in the National League. The frustrations for the Fish against the Braves have been well documented. Here is Atlanta 24-46 in a major rebuild mode. Don Mattingly's ball club has been very good this year against teams that are better than them, and they've stumbled at times against teams like the Braves with records not only under 500, well under 500. And Atlanta's hot. The Braves have won 6 straight, and they've dominated the Marlins, having won 6 of 7.
Check out the Marlins record. 8 of those losses, now 6 to the Braves. 2 of them were against the Minnesota Twins as well, which own the second worst record in baseball right now.
Freeman fouls it at the plate. The count 0-2.
That's something you don't see very often. A lefty on lefty changeup. That's usually almost an exclusively right-handed batter pitch from a left-handed hitter, but Adam Conley threw Freddie Freeman a lefty changeup. You look at it, as well as Freddie Freeman's been doing the last week, and overall 276 on the season, only 186 on the year with men in scoring position.
Last week, though, 17 hits, best in the majors, 5 doubles. Pitch in the dirt. Had 3 home runs. And it was the first time in his career, which is a surprise, that he has been Player of the Week in the National League. He's had a really nice run as a Brave, and he's kind of the lone man standing, bridging the gap from the Chipper Jones era to whatever is next for the Braves. Mathis got a piece, and into third goes Peterson. A wild pitch that Mathis had to really wrestle to the ground before he could pick it up.
Yeah, here's that changeup again, lefty on lefty. But I think Mathis does a great job just to get out there and get a glove on it. That ball missed by so much.
So now the infield's back, and with a full count, Freeman has a chance to give Atlanta an early lead. And he pulls it foul.
Also within that Player of the Week, had a cycle for the Braves at Turner Field, and one more than the Marlins have in their history.
That helps. That helps draw attention for that award. 3-2. Got him. That's a big strikeout for Conley. Keeps Peterson at third, and now with 2 outs, he can go after Jeff Francoeur.
Wow. 3 changeups he threw Freddie Freeman at that at bat, including that 3-2 one out of the strike zone. That takes some guts.
And give credit to Jeff Mathis as well, to have the fortitude not only to call the pitch, but call the pitch with a runner at third.
I think when you got a veteran like Jeff Mathis out there, and a young pitcher like Adam Conley, who probably doesn't have much confidence in that changeup to a left-handed batter, when he puts it down with conviction, I think that gives Adam Conley a lot of confidence.
So now here's Francoeur, the first righty bat that Conley faces. And of course, on a first pitch fastball, he takes a rip at it. Always been his calling card.
Very aggressive in the first pitch.
And always very good against lefties. Over 300 this year against them. So now here's where the reverse splits favor Conley. Well, a guy like Francoeur's good against lefties. 1-1. Off-speed pitch, hammered foul. Waking up the campers down in left field. I always love camp day because of the colors in and around the groups of kids. Wear your camp shirt. I'm sure the bus rides down were pretty noisy. 1-2. Up the middle, Echeverria has it on to first in time. And Adam Conley pitches around Jace Peterson, headed to the bottom of the first scoreless. 42. Ichiro, day game after night game, no worries. And the rest of the Marlins lineup brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Ichiro Suzuki leading off in right field. Shortstop Adeiny Echeverria. And the third spot, left field, Christian Yelich. Center fielder Marcell Ozuna gets back in there after a day off yesterday. First base, Justin Bour. Second base, Derek Dietrich. Over at third, we have Chris Johnson. Jeff Mathis in the 8th spot. And batting ninth, Adam Conley.
Well, this is John Gant, an original draft pick of the Mets in 2011. And he is a unique right-hander in the way he delivers the baseball, his actions on the mound. It's almost like Burt Badenhop on acid. Remember, the Hopper had such a unique delivery. Well, this guy takes it a little further. And so it'll be fascinating to watch because he pitched really well his last time out. He got his first major league win. He beat the Mets in New York 5-1. Just 2 hits and 5 strikeouts. Ichiro, Adeiny Echeverria, and Christian Yelich for Miami. You see the numbers for Ichiro. Little stop and start, and a fastball for a strike. Phil Cuzzy calling balls and strikes. Ichiro, 398 on base and a 427 slugging percentage. Just an outstanding year. All right, Jeff Conine, you saw Gant in sort of a false start, stop, and then the windup comes. As a hitter, how do you combat that? How do you put it out of your mind?
I think after you've seen him one time, even have seen 3 or 4 pitches delivered, you just delay your ready position, delay your load a little bit. I don't think it's it's different, yes, but I would be more concerned with a funky delivery that hides the ball really well rather than a start and stop. So right here, right, that's basically his windup. That's when I get ready to hit the ball. I don't think it'll be that big a difference.
Ichiro pulls one on the ground. Peterson gobbles it up. And there's an out here in the bottom of the first. Here come the Braves defensively. Jeff Francoeur is in left field. Ender Inciarte's outstanding in center. Nick Markakis has won a couple Gold Gloves in right. Freddie Freeman and Chase Darno on the corners. Eric Ivar, Jace Peterson up the middle. And Tyler Flowers gets the call behind the plate. Echeverria now. Miami last night got a couple of runs early, held that lead until the 8th. Echeverria had one of those hits that drove in a run. That was a 4th inning single. Jose Fernandez had the other. As much as the Marlins needed Jose to go 7, he did exactly that. He went 7. He dominated. He shut out the Braves on just one measly infield hit. And it all went up in smoke with the one swing. It was Emilio Bonifacio who singled in the 8th. And then Peterson with 1 out, 2-run homer against David Phelps. 1-2. That is strike 3 called.
It wasn't, I don't think it was one of his most dominating starts last night, Jose Fernandez, but I thought it was one of his best pitching performances. You saw him vary his fastball velocity from 92 to 97, but he stayed in that lower to mid 90s range more than I think we've seen him quite a bit. And I thought he was excellent location, and he managed his pitches. And he 99, but they were a pretty stress-free 99 pitches.
Here is Yelich. Key at bat for the Marlins and for the Braves last night was Yelich in the 10th. The Marlins down a run, had runners first and second against Aroldis Vizcaíno. And Vizcaíno struck out Yelich and then got Stanton and then Johnson to end the ball game. There's a strike, and it's 1-1. Marlins left fielder on base at a 404 clip, 491 slugging percentage. He's got 19 doubles to go with 6 homers. And with great defense, he did not win the Gold Glove last year, but he did 2 years ago. He's made some outstanding plays in left. He certainly is all-star worthy with the year that he's having. 2-1. Changeup. And it looks like the Marlins are taking a bit to get accustomed to the delivery of Gant.
As I go through the order and more information gets back into that dugout about the unorthodox delivery, I think they'll get used to it, hopefully before the first time through the lineup goes through.
Well, problematic in talking to some people that have faced him is if you are trying to put the delivery out of your mind, you have to remember he's got pretty good stuff too. So there's almost 2 hurdles you got to get over. Don't let the delivery bother you. And oh, by the way, he's got now a sharp breaking ball and spots his fastball.
And as we've seen, to Yelich, a good changeup.
He used to throw a Vulcan change where he split it in his hands. But once he got into the starting rotation, they discovered he had a really sharp breaking ball. 3-2. Fastball. And down goes Yelich. So John Gant looks sharp. And the Marlins are down in order in the first.
Presentado en español vía SAP por West Kendall Toyota.
In Miami this afternoon, how are you? Rich Waltz, Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini, Adam Conley, John Gant. We're all here on camp day as the Marlins will try to solve one of life's great mysteries, how to beat the Atlanta Braves. And they've not been able to do it but once this year as Markakis swings and misses. And it's 0-1. Tyler Flowers and Chase Darno coming up for the Braves, who have gotten a taste of winning. And since acquiring that taste, they have continued to do it. They've won 6 straight. They swept the Mets in New York. Brian Snitker, interim manager. Ball club arrived here and promptly came from behind to beat the Marlins in extra innings last night. So they've won 6 of 7. Markakis takes a ball in the dirt.
Last
1-2.
Last night, Snitker managed that game almost like it was a playoff game. We saw 5 pitching changes by the Atlanta Braves, a lot of matchups, a couple batters each for their specialists in the lefty-righty areas of their bullpen.
And one of the reasons why is he could. The Braves had a full off day here in Miami. They actually got in Sunday night from their sweep in New York, so a full off day. So the pen didn't work on Monday. And on Sunday, Julio Teheran threw a complete game, so they didn't work on Sunday either. So everybody down there had a full 2 days off, and he was able to go to him when he wanted. That guy is not fun to face. An ERA in the mid-2s right now, pitching for a team that is 24-46. He's 3-7, but don't pay attention to the record. Markakis busts his bat, and Dietrich is back to get it. It's 0 out. Here comes Tyler Flowers. Speaking of the Mets, stories in and around baseball. It sounds like the Mets are considering whether to sign Jose Reyes right now.
Recently let go by the Colorado Rockies. Reyes still got a couple years left on his deal and looking for a team to play for right now.
Also, news and notes around baseball. Our buddy J.P. Morosi on MLB.com reporting that the Marlins are looking for starting pitching, and that there have been talks with the Tampa Bay Rays and the San Diego Padres. Jake Odorizzi, Drew Pomerantz are a couple of names that have popped up. Ichiro over is there, and he makes the catch. Well, tomorrow night it's the Cubs and the Marlins, and it all gets going at 7:10. Starts a 4-game series. Fans 21 and older can purchase the ultimate VIP package. It gets you a Clevelander ticket, a cigar from Alec Bradley, and a drink from McAllen. For tickets, go to marlins.com/special events. And of course, tomorrow night is the Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction. We'll be calling the game, and at the same time raising money for the Marlins Education Fund, the Marlins Foundation. Always fun, lots of cool stuff as Chase Darno steps into the box.
Rich, what were the numbers from last year for the auction?
$125,000, an all-time high, and that's the goal we've set. Try to break that this year.
Awesome.
We're off to a great start. All the pledge packs sold out within 24 hours. Thank you to everybody that purchased one of those. And we've got a really cool big board and some fine little board items set for tomorrow night. Here's the 0-2. End of the bat, little pop, shallow center. Dietrich got it with a backhand running catch. Adam Conley looks comfortable on camp day. Scoreless. Brought to you by La Lechonera. I think I need a little more gusto on that read. I know it's 12:30 after an extra inning game, but by the 4th or the 5th, I'll be there.
Maybe we can send out for some Cuban coffee or something. Get you a little ramped up. Get that heartbeat going.
I'm in. As long as I get a Cuban sandwich and a Cuban coffee, I'm good. Here's Marcell Ozuna. That's all. I mean, that's close by, isn't it? Right down the left field line.
We can see it from here.
Marcell Ozuna cracks one to center field. On a line to the wall. Around second. He's headed for third. And he is in there.
Waste no time at all. First pitch swinging, hits an absolute rocket. And he made up his mind right away that he's going for 3, especially after it hit that corner a little bit in the outfield off the wall.
Well, he is so locked in right now.
That little detour right there gave him plenty of time to get that triple, a stand-up triple.
Now you love to see that. Out of the box like a shot. And in with a triple. Miami with a great chance to get on the board here. Justin Bour now. Infield is back. Somewhat of a shift against Bour with Dietrich to follow against John Gant. It's 109 miles an hour off the bat for Ozuna. He's trying to bust his way into the top 5 in OPS.
On base percentage plus slugging. His OPS, and
he's 6th right now in the National League. Justin Bour, get out of here! Wow! 2-run shot, 2-0 Miami.
There's a lot of noise from the campers today, and a lot of noise from the Marlins bats in this inning. Triple and a home run to start off the second. Justin Bour, nice, easy swing. On a fastball this time, we've seen him hook that changeup into the home run porch a number of times this year. Fastball 91 miles an hour. He turns it around.
So a triple homer on consecutive pitches. There's the home run ball. That'll make your camp day a special one. Here's the 0-1. That's fouled back to the screen. Everyone's going to get to touch that baseball. Everyone's going to have a story of that thing coming up where nobody expected to get a home run up into that second deck.
Looked like the girl said it hit her like right in the hip. Ricocheted off, and the lucky recipient was the boy in front of her.
Dietrich takes in, and the count's 1-2. Busted bat. Dietrich flips it out into center field for a hit. And the Marlins have got triple homer single. Here comes Chris Johnson.
Boy, just to get a bat on that pitch low, well out of the strike zone. He couldn't have thrown it any better, as we say. They all even out, Rich. That takes care of one of those line drives that he hit right at somebody.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I was waiting for that. That biting sarcasm at the end. Johnson. Well, the one thing we see with Gant, as opposed to a Johnny Cueto, is from the stretch, he's pretty straightforward. There's no real turn or wiggle or waggle or hesitation. It's just in the windup that he has that funky start.
Well, now that you mention that, Rich,
with runners on base.
In the corner, and it's foul.
With no runners on base, Major League hitting just .213 off of Mr. Gant. They're batting .308 against him with runners in scoring position. So maybe there is something to that. You take away that funkiness of the delivery when he's got nobody on, and more straightforward here with men on base.
Dietrich at first, 0-2 coming. And that's into right field for a hit. Johnson shoots it. Markakis overruns it. Dietrich had stopped at second. And so the Marlins settle for first and second. AutoNation brings you the scouting report on John Gant.
He's got the basics, pretty much. Fastball we've seen today, 89 to 92, 93. A good curveball, an excellent changeup. Probably his best pitch is his changeup. Nervous Nelly, funky delivery as we've illustrated. Kind of stop and start motion. A Florida transplant. He's born in New York City, but raised in Wesley Chapel, Florida, by the Tampa Bay area.
Jeff Mathis now. You've got Conley on deck. And so Mathis will be swinging away here. He takes out. It's 1-0. Mathis, of course, on the road trip had an enormous hit, a grand slam that sunk the Padres. The Marlins won in San Diego. And a breaking ball for a strike.
Mathis enjoying a 5-game hitting streak versus the Braves, hitting .389 in that 5-game hitting streak with some damage. 3 doubles, 6 RBIs. Good spot for him to nail a base hit with men in scoring position here. Saw Jeff Mathis asking the umpire, is that the bottom of the strike zone? And indeed it was. Couldn't get much more perfect than that.
One-two line to the left for a hit. Good break by Dietrich. Round third, he's coming home. Johnson hustling to third. He is out at third base. Mathis went halfway to second, holds at first. Marlins get another run, but Johnson thrown out. Remember, that's Jeff Francoeur in left, and he still has a great throwing arm.
Since 2005, nobody in the big leagues has more outfield assists than that man right there, Jeff Francoeur. That curveball, Jeff Mathis, an outstanding job of hitting. You saw the catcher get ready to block that ball in the dirt. Gets down below it. Goes a line drive out there. I like the aggressiveness of Chris Johnson, but you got to remember who's throwing the baseball.
This sets up for Conley to bunt. And he pops it into the glove of the catcher. It's not been a good year at the plate for Adam Conley. He's got just one sacrifice bunt. And that's out number 2.
So he drops the barrel of that bat. You're supposed to keep it at least level or up above. And a lot of times that is the result when you drop the barrel. You pop it up.
Ichiro now. Ichiro bounced to second in his first at bat. Braves holding Mathis, who runs pretty well. And Ichiro takes away. 2 hits last night. Another walk last night. Not only is he swinging the bat better than he did last year, markedly, but he is walking more. He's a little more selective than he was last year. That was a Ichiro go deep swing right there.
You know, it's funny, you watch Ichiro take batting practice, and he basically tries to hit a home run every single swing he takes in batting practice. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked him, like, why do you try to pull home runs every single pitch? And he said, going the opposite way is easy for me.
Yeah, we've told the story of how, with all the chatter of Madison Bumgarner and other pitchers that want into the home run hitting contests, Barry Bonds said this is the guy that would win it if he got in it, and that's Ichiro.
.400 at bats last year. He walked just 31 times. He's got 17 walks already with 130 at bats this year. To your point, he's seeing a lot more pitches, going deeper into counts, much more selective at the plate. That's a .424 on base percentage right now.
Two coming. Ichiro center field, and it's in for a hit. Solid line drive, much like one of his hits last night. He is 17 hits away from 3,000.
Boy, watch how much he moves forward, but keeps his hands back long enough. Moving out of the box. See the hips move forward. You usually don't teach a young hitter to hit like Ichiro. He is unique in his style, but he is so effective, and the hand-eye coordination necessary to put all those moving pieces together and still put the barrel on the ball is pretty remarkable.
Oh, by the way, we were talking about the fantasy auction for tomorrow night. Not only is there an Ichiro painting, but on the little board we have added a signed, authenticated Ichiro bat, the same model that he uses in the games. And we were able to find one of those Ichiro bobblehead hit counters, and that will be on the little board as well.
Echeverria looked like he's trying to make it 6-0 with that swing.
Echeverria struck out back in the first. Striking at 0-2. Amazingly, it was and it's the way the schedule works. It's not by design. Last year's fantasy auction, which was a big success, was a John Lester start as well. So Wei-Yin Chen and John Lester, lefties, tomorrow night. Because of that, we've brought Al Leiter in to do the game. Another lefty. There's a liner to Francoeur out left, and he makes the catch. Big inning for the Fish, a 3-0 lead over the Braves.
What goes up must come down.
flipping. And it can get you to the All-Star game. And you don't even have to hit a home run. You just have to flip the bat, capture it on video, and send it to us. Actually, post a video at Fox Sports. Oh, there it is.
Ouch.
Yeah. Oh. I knew that you had flipped the bat at one point. Post that video at Fox Sports. Visit foxsports.com/batflip. And you could end up winning a trip to the All-Star game.
I did that a total of 0 times during my Major League career.
But if you could go back, was there one home run you hit that you would have liked to have lingered just a bit, not Junior Lake-like, but just a bit, and then flip the bat and maybe taking your time? Maybe the last one you hit.
Yeah, my last game that I played, maybe. So I didn't have someone headhunting the next time up.
Eric Ibar's up. John Gant, Chase Peterson to follow. That one pulled foul down the third baseline. Look, I'll be honest with you. I've softened on the bat flip. Now, I'm not into the whole theater of, I mean, it has to be
Jose Bautista theater.
No, look, I think that home run warranted a bat flip. I thought that was one of the best moments of Major League Baseball last year. I mean, that's the second biggest home run in Toronto Blue Jay history. It's one of the biggest postseason home runs we've seen lately. It didn't seem scripted. It seemed genuine.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, Rich. I mean, I said the same thing after the whole melee and benches cleared, and when you watch it again and you get caught up in that moment of it's playoff baseball and emotions run high, and that, like you said, was a humongous home run at that time. And I'm fine with, I think he took it just a little bit too far. Just a bit.
The bat maybe flipped too far?
No. the time it took to flip the bat.
Oh, okay. Ball up the middle, and Ibar has a single against Adam Conley. But it sounds like you're warming up to the...
You know what? It's going along with I finally joined Twitter and the whole social media thing. Times have changed. The game has changed a bit since I played, which is shocking to me. It's almost 10 years now since I played. So it is what it is. You got to roll with the changes. REO Speedway.
No, you can't do that. You can't go back another 20 years and drop an REO Speedwagon on.
Big 80s fan.
Okay. There's Gant at the bunt. And here comes Jace Peterson. Adam Conley, second time through now, has given up 2 hits. Peterson had an infield single. Ibar's hit to lead off the third here. Of course, there have been 3 nights where he has come out and had no hit stuff and actually rolled at least into the 6th inning with a no-hitter. Twice he's gotten 2 outs in the 6th with a no-hitter. To first, Bohr captures it and gets to the bag, and of course he got to 2 outs in the 8th in Milwaukee and had a no-hitter when he was removed with 116 pitches. And I think for Conley, similar to Jose Fernandez, the goal is get more early outs, lower pitch count, so when you get to the 7th, you're not at 115, or in Conley's case, he was getting to the 5th inning in some of these starts with a pitch count of 100. He's at 39 now, and he's got 2 outs in the 3rd.
Especially with a young pitcher, the Marlins are cautious with young pitchers. They don't want to get their pitch counts up too high. You mentioned that game in Milwaukee at a 7 2/3 no-hit ball was his high mark of the year as far as pitches are concerned. Threw 116 that night. Last time out against Colorado, 5 2/3 and had 109 pitches.
Good sweeping breaking ball. And it seems like Conley against the lefties, and that was one of the storylines coming in. So far, so good, as the Braves have a lot of lefty bats in the lineup.
And as you mentioned, the reverse splits, lefties hitting almost 100 points higher against Conley than righties. And that's the pitch right there. I think he can get away with that down and into a right-handed hitter. They feel it's going to be a fastball that's coming in the inside part of the plate, and when they start their swing, it just dives down. But I think the lefties get a better look at that and are able to take it. I'd love to see him do the front door breaking ball to a lefty, throw it at their hip, and try to get that pitch in the inside corner.
Well, I think that's one of the exciting things about Conley for the Marlins. You've got a young starter, got to the big leagues last year, had success, especially in mid-August on. He's carried over a lot of that here. And as baseball will tell you, whether it's a scout or a manager or a pitching coach, it takes lefties a little longer to get it together in the big leagues, especially in Juan Nieves, of course, a left-handed pitcher in the big leagues. He threw a no-hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers. Four again. Gets to the bag, beats Inciarte. Niner, this is for you. Check in, or actually we should find Craig Minervini. Craig?
Somewhere out here, a long way from home plate, where Justin Bour hit his home run out to the MBCS campers here. They got 80 here. They come every year. Now, actually, the ball's in Jose's hands, but Fatima had the best shot. What happened? You had a chance at the ball.
I hit my leg, but I was like, I hit my leg and I got surprised, so it was like too late to grab the ball. Yeah.
But you didn't want to get it. You didn't want a piece of that ball. It's too hard.
No, I wanted it, but like he like.
Well, here it is. Then you can have it, right? No, actually, Jose, how neat is this for you, as it hit off Fatima and you got the ball?
Yeah, I was just too quick for her. She was too slow, too slow. She got to be quicker than that.
Quick hands, and you got the baseball too with Justin Bour's homer. Yeah. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Now Joe's the director here. Joe's been coming to games for a long time, and you've never gotten a baseball.
Never. This is I mean, even though if it's not me, it's like if it's me. I got the ball, so I'm excited too.
Especially for it to be a home run, right?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Not a foul ball, a homer. So it's awesome.
You guys are good Marlins fans, too. It's good to have you out at the park.
Yes, yes, it is.
All right. Here's the group there having a good time, and you got a home run ball to boot, gentlemen. Long way away.
Yeah, you're right, Craig. It was a long way away. Way up yonder in right field. Christian Yelich going after a fastball, fouls it back. As Justin Bour puts a little pine tar on the bat. It's Yelich, it's Ozuna, and it's Bour. As you can hear, it's camp day. We've already had a couple of rousing renditions of SpongeBob SquarePants.
We keep the headsets on for those in between innings.
And the only thing missing is your buddy, Tutti Frutti the Clown.
Craig, I'm sure, knows where he is today.
He's usually around on days like this.
Yes, indeed. Balloon animals galore.
Unless there's a Wednesday noon birthday or bar mitzvah or something to be had. 3-2. Yelich hard on the ground. Darno across the diamond. And there's an out here in the third. And here comes Ozuna. Scheduled off night last night. Ozuna, of course, on Monday night, cracked 2 homers against the Rockies. He's got 3 home runs on the homestand. Also had a 421-foot 3-run shot to win the game on Sunday. Since you went way back to the 80s, REO Speedway.
Yes.
I'll go to, I guess it was what, Huey Lewis and the News who were saying that song, The Power of Love.
Yes.
And to me, it's the power of love between Barry Bonds and Marcell Ozuna. When Barry Bonds met Marcell Ozuna in spring training, he took to him, and Ozuna has followed his every word. There is an incredible relationship between the two. And what Bonds has imparted on Ozuna is very simple. I asked Marcell that about 3 weeks ago, and he said patience. Barry Bonds has given him patience.
And obviously it's translated into numbers. Like you said, in the top 6 in OPS this year, a spot that Barry Bonds occupied the #1 spot many years.
And look, when Bonds walked into the Marlins clubhouse in spring training, you're talking about a guy that all of the players grew up watching and regarded as obviously the best hitter in the game when he was around, and the best hitter in the game, period. And when a guy like that puts his arm around you and says, you can be a great player, you can hit, and I'm going to tell you how. For Marcell Ozuna, that was like a guy in the desert looking for water and all of a sudden finding it.
I agree. I mean, that's what he needed. He needed some guidance. He needed a plan. I think Barry Bonds had the best approach probably I've ever seen at the plate. I never saw him take a check swing.
And don't discount the efforts of Frank Menechino as well, because
Frankie works as hard as anybody I've ever seen at that job, and no question he is loves to talk the game, loves to talk shop. And I think the more you talk with these guys about situations and about hitting, and it gives them more information, the more confident they are.
Justin Bour, high pop-up, shallow left, Frank Coors in, and he makes the catch. And the Marlins down in order in the third to the fourth. Happy Campers Day. It's 3-0. top. It's the 4th. It'll feel like the 4th on Friday, Fireworks Friday. Cubs, Marlins, burgers and beer. What could be better than that? Pick up the Budweiser burger and beer package, $25. Enjoy fireworks after the game. It's the Marlins and the Cubs. Venezuelan Heritage Night, powered by South Florida Ford. Yeah, the cotton candy folks are getting a workout here on camp day. Who needs lunch when you've got cotton candy? Foul ball back. Freddie Freeman, Jeff Francoeur, and Nick Markakis against Adam Conley. This is a brief 2-game series. Cubs are here tomorrow night. Braves go home and face the Mets. That's one of the reasons they flip-flop Matt Whistler and John Gantz. Into left, that's a hit. Everything starts tomorrow night with Marlins Live, brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. The bidding opens on the big board and the little board tomorrow. Jessica Blaylock and Jeff Conine will host. Craig will be running the show. Fantasy auction. Wei-Yin Chen's looking for a solid start. And John Lester goes for the Cubs. In the hole, Echeverria diving, has it on his knee, got it out there, and that's it. Outstanding play by Echeverria.
Yeah, good decision. Take a little bit of time there, get a good throw over to Derek Dietrich. And Dietrich, good decision to hang on to it and not risk a bad throw. How many times we've seen it. Echeverria to his right, I think, is one of the better shortstops in the league, maybe in baseball. Derek Dietrich has improved immensely on his turns at second base.
Perry Hill the other day talking about Dietrich and the progress he's made, the confidence he's playing with. A lot of work has gone into that. Oh, 0-1. Markakis popped out back in the second.
Adam Conley looks like he's attacking the Braves a little bit differently second time through the lineup. First time he established that changeup, threw a lot of changeups lefty on lefty. And right now looks like all fastballs. That's one thing I think every left-handed pitcher should perfect, is the move to first base. When you have an excellent move to first base, we saw it from who had a great move? Andy Pettitte had a phenomenal move over to first base, and it totally shuts down the running game when you've got the fear of a left-handed pitcher that has a good move going over to first base.
So there's probably, you could start with Pettitte and then fill out a roster of probably 5 or 6 guys that just had dominant moves over to first. To me, those guys should hire themselves out as consultants, just to come in, bring them to camp, bring them in and let them work with the young lefty starters and craft a move.
Because I think it's been lost on these young lefty starters. I don't think they have, it's just a cursory show me type thing that I might come over there, but it's not a deceptive move that actually picks people off and keeps them close to the base.
Each guy's delivery is different, that's for sure. But it's not like you're coming in trying to teach a guy how to throw 98 or how to throw a sharp breaking ball or a great changeup. So all you got to do is throw the ball over to first. What you're looking for is crafting a move, a motion, and working on it. 2-2 coming. And a throw to first. And incidentally, tomorrow night starter John Lester, that's been an issue for him, and that is controlling the running game. Conley trying to keep Francoeur close. And a foul ball, and it reaches the seats. This is a busy day in Major League Baseball. Marlins were the first game out of the chute with a camp day start. You got games going in New York, 2 of them actually, the Rockies and the Yankees, the Royals and the Mets. Up the middle, looks like 2. Echeverria handles it and gets the double play. Nice work from Adam Conley, who is shutting out the Braves through 4. Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Checkers, fast foodies, know the deal. Hi, kids. Marlins and Braves, bottom 4. Camp day in Miami. Lively crowd. And so far, they've seen the Marlins with the power stroke. Marcell Ozuna a triple, a 2-run homer by Justin Bour, and then 3 consecutive singles. Derek Dietrich, Chris Johnson, and Jeff Mathis, and that's how Miami put 3 runs up on the board in the second against Braves starter John Gantz. He of the unique delivery.
And as we pointed out, with the bases empty, Gant sporting a .213 opponent's batting average against, but when men get on, especially in runners scoring positions, over 300. So I think out of the stretch, the Marlins have the advantages. Need to get somebody on base.
The scanner report says he does not quick pitch from this, so he's very consistent. When he brings that left leg up, sort of a false start. That changeup's been a good pitch for him today.
Yeah, excellent changeup. Fastball's nothing overpowering. He's got pretty good command. Doesn't look like it's got a lot of movement either.
Dietrich swings and misses. Another changeup. It's always interesting to, as you see Giancarlo Stanton with the day off, track opponents that a team has seen recently. The Marlins, of course, took 2 of 3 in San Diego. Took 3 of 4 from the Rockies. The Rockies promptly went into Yankee Stadium last night and battered the Yankees 8-4. Nolan Arenado and Charlie Blackmon homered. Blackmon hit 2. And so you could kind of see that coming that last day with the Marlins and the Rockies. That's strike 3 called. Dietrich tried to take it in, and it wasn't in. It was right on the corner.
That was quite a sequence by Gant. Change-ups away, kind of lulled him into that slow motion, and then this 93-mile-an-hour fastball right on the inside corner. That's a good pitch.
Now here is Johnson. The other team the Marlins just saw recently, obviously the Padres. Miami took 2 of 3 there. The Padres are in Baltimore. And right now San Diego has ripped off 3 consecutive wins. They beat Baltimore last night 10-7.
Baltimore currently sitting on top of that American League East division. 1-game lead over Boston and 2.5 over Toronto.
Matt Kemp, who was just seemingly getting going down there, had 4 hits last night at Baltimore's expense. Rockies and Yankees right now are scoreless in the bottom of the first at Yankee Stadium. Ball in the dirt. Royals and Mets in the first, and that game is scoreless. And other afternoon games, the Cubs are actually playing an afternoon game before they get here tonight. Cardinals and Cubs. That game starts in about an hour. Dodgers and Houston, or excuse me, Angels and Houston. That's a strikeout. And Gant, other than that second inning, has been unhittable. He retired everybody in the first, everybody in the third. He has 2 strikeouts here in the fourth. Here is Mathis, who had an RBI single on a curveball. Pitching matchup for the Cubs series. We told you it's John Lester, Wei-Yin Chen. That's tomorrow night. Tom Kohler, Kyle Hendricks on Friday. Paul Clemens and John Lackey on Saturday afternoon. Couple of hops for Ibar. And Jose Fernandez, Jason Hamm will go on Sunday. 4-gamer with the Cubs tomorrow night. Should be a lot of fun. Here it's 3-0 Miami. Showdown brought to you by La Lechonera.
I like the way you get into that. That's very...
See, I told you by the 5th inning I'd be there. 3-0 Miami on top. The Kid Shack, popular spot on camp day. If only you could bottle up all the enthusiasm and the excitement of this day. Tyler Flowers, Chase Darno, Eric Ibar for the Braves in the 5th.
Adam Conley threw 4. It's been an economical day for him. Just 57 pitches. As we were saying earlier, that Adam Conley's had some issues with pitch counts, nearing 80 to 100 in the 5th inning. So nice to see him putting balls in play. The Braves really have not squared up hardly anything today. He's missing a lot of barrels. Good to see some consistency out of Adam Conley.
His last start was a bit odd in that his walks were equal to his strikeouts. He had 5 of each. A couple were intentional walks. And the only run scored on a hit batter. He was bailed out by Nick Whitgren, who came in and got him out of that 6th inning. Count 1-2. And he gets it. So his 2nd strikeout. Geico brings you a Marlins moment today. Not Jeff Conine's bat flip, which we captured on videotape, much to his delight. That is sarcasm. 98. Mark Kotsay, who made it into the show last night. The double and an RBI to tie the club record for hits in a game.
Mark Kotsay, what a great player, great teammate. Got to spend a little bit of time. He was kind of on the way in when I was on the way out, leaving the Marlins, and had a really nice major league career.
Chris Johnson takes care of that pop-up.
Don't you love the way the pitchers just stand there and they know that they're not supposed to go after any pop fly. They just stand there and look at it and hope that someone's going to come up and catch it. See Adam Conley here. All right, I'll point to it, and it's pretty much right on top of me, but all right, get out of the way.
There are some pitchers that want to catch it. There are some that want to be there in case somebody slips.
And some want nothing to do with it. They run the other way.
Without question. There are other guys that just leave the picture. That one to left, hit well. Yelich on the run. Yelich slides and can't get it. Ball off the fence. Yelich picks it up. And Ibar has himself a double. That was a terrific effort by Christian Yelich, who got into the slide and may have gotten the end of his glove on it.
Great jump by Christian Yelich. You see him start his slide so he doesn't run headlong into that wall. Just to the side of his glove.
Yelich makes sure everything is still adjusted. And here's John Gant. With 2 outs, Braves pitcher Gant with a sacrifice bunt his first time up. To right, Ichiro in pursuit, and Ichiro makes a sliding catch in foul territory. Flips the ball.
That's a good gift on camp day. Ichiro threw me a baseball.
Baseball with greater coverage of Major League Baseball. Charlie Blackmon continues to swing it. His 2 homers beat the Yankees. Corey Kluber, Marlins may run into him a little later in the season. Chris Sale, Marlins might see him later in the season. First in baseball, 12 wins. Marlins interleague partners are the American League Central. In fact, next road trip for the Fish starts in Detroit.
Marlins open up the season with Detroit this year, and it's a pretty good offensive club. Our friend Miguel Cabrera having another great year.
Marlins still have a road trip to Cleveland. That is in early September. The Kansas City Royals are coming to town. The White Sox are coming to town. Kansas City and the White Sox arrive here in August.
That division's tough division this year. Cleveland in first place right now after winning 5 in a row with a 2-game lead on the Royals.
Royals seem like they're starting to get it together. They've had some devastating injuries. 0-2. Conley pulls it. Freeman way off. And Candace there. Well, it's a good time to be in Cleveland, right? If you're the Indians or the Cavs or any sports fan in Cleveland.
Cavs NBA title broke a 60-year drought. Professional sports championships there in the city of Cleveland.
You got to think that Cubs fans watched that and said, if they can do it, the Cubs can do it. Because that drought's even longer. World championship for the Cubs.
1908, I believe. Last time the Cubs won a World Series.
Ichiro takes a strike.
Came close in 2003. Oh, sorry about that.
Ichiro's bounced out and singled. Shoots one up the middle. Ibar flips to first in time, and there's 2 outs. And yet again, John Gant's day, if he could just erase the second inning, he would be throwing a perfect game. Because outside of the second inning, he's retired all 11 that he's faced. But in that second inning, the Marlins had 5 hits and scored 3 runs. Actually 6 hits, pardon me. Echeverria takes a breaking ball away.
Marlins just need to get Gant in the stretch. Remember that first hit that inning was Derek Dietrich's broken bat single over the second baseman's head. That put Gant into the stretch, and then
liner to right. A running catch by Markakis. And the Marlins go 1-2-3 in the 5th. 3-0. Fish. This Saturday, Cubs, Marlins. Remember, a couple of things. It's a 4:10 start. That's for one. Secondly, 5,000 fans get a Moise Alou bobblehead and a post-game concert with Trip Lee. Tickets at marlins.com. A lot happening in the next 4 days here at Marlins Park. Adam Conley ventures into the 6th. He gets the top of the order here. Jace Peterson is 1 for 2. You've got Ender Inciarte and Freddie Freeman. The left-handed bats lined up against Conley. As Jeff illustrated early in the telecast, reverse splits. Lefties 100 points better against Conley. Braves not shy to keep those lefties in against him. For Conley, that's not been an issue. Pretty good pitch there, but it misses. And it's 2-1. Yelich back and there and makes the catch.
This is the time in the game that we've seen Adam Conley. I don't know if it's a tired thing or concentration thing, but the 5th, 6th inning is kind of where we've seen him fall apart a little bit. Start going out of the strike zone a little bit. It'd be nice that he gets through this 6th inning. He's got a nice pitch count, only 71 pitches as of right now. Get deep into this game, so continue to give that Marlins bullpen a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, you're right. And Don Mattingly thought he had that night last night. Jose Fernandez gave him 7. It looked like it would be Phelps and Ramos, and then head home with a win. And hits Inciarte. Fastball comes in and clips him. Miami ended up having to use 4 relievers last night. Bearclaw and Dunn worked as well. After Phelps and Ramos.
That's how you're taught. Put that foot down and turn into that pitch so it doesn't get anything on the elbows, hands. It's the meaty part of your back. Still hurts, but at least won't break anything.
It will leave a mark, though.
That will leave a mark. Braves 0 for 8 with runners on base today. Exact opposite with Gant, who has given up all 6 hits with men on base today. Might have just grazed the bottom of that strike zone.
Long wait, and that's too long for Freddie Freeman. Of course, next year, new ballpark for the Braves. Left field and shallow. Yelich runs out from under his cap and makes the catch. As good as it gets when he's in pursuit. Toyota's inside look. 6-game win streak for the Braves. How about that? Longest since 2014. Against the Marlins, they are 6-1, and that's not new. In this ballpark, especially, the Braves have dominated. Since Marlins Park opened, the Braves are 29-12 here.
So much for home field advantage. I don't think the overall record plays into the psyche of a team, but when you're losing to a team like the Atlanta Braves in one season, I think that the Marlins are thinking about that. Coming into today, knowing that they've lost 6 out of 7 to the Braves, which obviously one of the worst records in all of baseball. Even though they have won 6 in a row, they still should be hoping for a better record against the Braves than what they've done.
Conley gets a strike on Francoeur. You would think, although it's not, I don't know that it's been said, he is an interim manager. You would think the Braves are looking for a new manager heading into a new ballpark. A younger team, an organization loaded with young talent. It's time called. Conley trying to wait out the runner at first in Ciarte. As a result, the hitter's growing a bit impatient. But SunTrust Park opens next year. It will be odd to see a Braves game in a different venue, not just from Turner Field, but from that location, because County Stadium was right next door. And so same spot, same feel. Oh, 2.
There's the pitch that makes Adam Conley so effective against right-handers. Is that slider down and in, recognized as a fastball. The hitter starts to swing and swings right over it. It's a lot of swings with that pitch when they're out of the strike zone. Tries to go upstairs and make him chase on a good fastball. So he comes back with that slider down and in.
Marlins trying to climb back to 4 over before the Cubs arrive. The Braves just want to keep on winning and make it 7 in a row. And now Mathis out to talk to Conley. Everybody tries to gather themselves, get on the same page.
With that third win over Colorado, the Marlins on the season had climbed 1 game over 500 finally at home here in Miami, but with 2 losses are now back 1 under on the season.
And that 5 over, the high water mark for Don Mattingly and the Fish. The signal's straight here. And Ciarte still at first. 1-2 fastballs up. Francoeur, a guy that can hurt you. Such a great start to his Braves career. This is his 13th year in Major League Baseball. He was on the Sports Illustrated cover in 2005. Turned down a contract. I think it was 3 years in. He and Brian McCann were offered similar deals. McCann signed his. Francoeur didn't. Francoeur's production dipped, and he ended up elsewhere. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. That was a long at bat, but it works out for Conley. 6 shutout innings. It's 3-0.
A very special day. Philo Ramirez started calling baseball games in Cuba in 1945. Today is his birthday. He's been a Major League Hall of Famer since 2001, and we did not tell him we're coming in here. So this is a surprise for the Hall of Famer and the great Philo Ramirez. Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday.
Muchas gracias por el happy birthday.
You are the best. Are you 94? 5?
4.
94. 90?
Hey, no, no.
95.
93. Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, happy birthday. You are the best. Enjoy your cake. I heard you could be a little bit messy, Philo, so I brought you some napkins just in case. Philo is on the air right now, so he's going to throw off the broadcast if he talks, guys. But how about this? He was called the Don Larsen's perfect game. He called Roberto Clemente's 3,000th hit, numerous World Series, and he's still going strong.
And in the Hall of Fame, that's for sure. So 93, was that what we got out of that? That's
I don't know. Still between 93 and 95. I don't know if that's.
It says in 23, so
93. Born in Cuba.
He's looking.
The 2001 Ford Frick Award winner.
See that?
Cooperstown.
Called over 32 World Series and All-Star games. Wow.
In spring training, there are times where I'm not up at the complex and the game is not on Marlins radio, it's on Spanish radio, and I'll listen to those two guys, and they're really fun to listen to. Yiki Quintana and Felo Ramirez. Christian Yelich. You got Marcell Ozuna and Justin Bour lined up in the 6th against John Gant. With the funky windup early in the ball game, we wondered about what it would be like once he got into the stretch. And we noted that he did not have that deception. He's pretty cut and dried out of the stretch. And lo and behold, once the Marlins got him into the stretch, that's where they piled on and got their 3 runs. From the windup, the only blemish was that leadoff triple in the 2nd by Ozuna. Christian Yelich not happy, still at home plate. And Phil Cuzzi probably showing some restraint that he didn't toss him. He was there a long time. Let's see.
As we've seen, when Christian Yelich stands there and argues, he is right pretty much all the time. On Fox Tracks, you see it is outside off the plate, number 7.
And he's right again. Here's Ozuna. Fastball for a strike.
For a guy that prides himself on getting deep into counts, taking that walk, especially leadoff, Christian Yelich got a little heated there. You don't see him heated very often.
Peterson calls for it and has it. Yeah, you don't see him heated and you don't see him wrong. Yeah, when he questions the strike, he's, like you said, 95% of the time he's right. But it's not an easy job behind the plate. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever hopped behind the plate and umpired a game?
I did it. It was like a charity thing in college one time. And
how'd that go?
Not well. Not well.
What was your biggest challenge as Bour stands in?
Not flinching when the pitch came in, and if there's a swing, or I just found myself flinching a little bit.
Because you didn't have a glove. You had some protection.
Got the mask and the chest protector and all. It's just, yeah, it's, I felt very vulnerable.
Bour rolls one into center field, and that's a base hit. I did some of that in probably when I was in high school, would umpire pony league games, hop behind the plate.
A little extra money on the side, or
extra? You know, the guy that got me into that was actually Stan Van Gundy.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up in the same area, and Stan used to umpire my games when I was 13 or 14. Wow. He always had the small strike zone because he had another game across town. A big strike zone, I mean. He had another game across town. West Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Cubs right here, and you can celebrate Jewish Heritage Day. A 1:10 start. First 5,000 kids get a pair of Marlins athletic socks, courtesy of U Health. And kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash after the game. Braves bullpen in last night's ballgame, 4 2/3 innings, a hit, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Ian Kroll out of the pen. And the lefty faces Derek Dietrich. Chris Johnson is on deck. Braves have a right-hander ready in their pen. Justin Bour with a 2-out single against John Gant. And quick math just to recap Gant's appearance from the windup, which has that real funk and delay to it. Marlins were just 2 of 16. Once he got from the stretch, Miami was 5 for 7.
All in the second inning, pretty much. You mentioned Marcell Ozuna led off that inning with a triple. And Justin Bour kind of chased him from the game with a single.
Yeah, those are the only 2 hits from the windup.
You look at the bullpen for the Braves, how it's constructed. A lot of matchup type lefties. Kroll. Lefties only hitting 174. Righty's hitting 324, so I would assume this would be the only batter he's going to face.
Dietrich, a high chopper, and he's going to have a base hit out of this. Good hustle down the line. By the time Peterson got it, Dietrich was arriving at first base. Watch where this ball hits. Play hit the plate and then took off from there.
Well, that's the chopper right off the plate.
Is that the Baltimore chop? Yeah, come on. You were a Baltimore Oriole. Did you have any Baltimore chops when you were there?
I did not.
Well, Kroll is going to face Johnson in a breaking ball. Starts his at bat out. It's 1-0. Jeff Mathis is on deck.
It was surprising. The Braves had a righty thrown down the bullpen, getting heated up. Braves used 5 relievers in last night's win. As we mentioned, they were well rested with a couple days off. But you don't have to go back to those guys just about 13 hours after they finish the game.
High fly ball, Markakis. Whoa. A little zig and a little zag. It's still 3-0 Miami.
make friends, right?
Let's show them some fireworks.
What goes up must come down.
I got you.
Back in Miami, Marlins up 3-0. Seventh inning rolls around. Adam Conley is cruising. Tomorrow night is the Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction. We have a pledge pack already sold out of the pledge packs, but I purchased one and decided to throw more stuff in. And if you've been following with this last few days, lots of cool stuff. And we have a few more things to throw in. This is a Christian Yelich spike. Authentic autograph, game used. There's dirt on the bottom. Yelich has given us a pair of spikes. That goes in the pledge pack. So that's pretty cool. Authenticated
and authenticated.
Authenticated. How you like that?
It's
How
a
you like
unique
that?
item. You can't go buy those anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a whole lot of room in this thing, but we'll throw the spikes in there. Dietrich and Echeverria. All right, there you go. That's going in. Now, what else do we have? All right, I'm gonna have to move this thing. It's so
It's
big.
heavy.
All right,
A lot
next.
of stuff in there. Super duper.
Yes. All right. I got something. I got something that you're gonna like. I mean, you're really gonna like. This, my friends, is a game program, opening day game program, April 5th, Joe Robbie Stadium. Mike Fernance, who actually is operating our robot camera here in the booth for us, donated this. This is the opening day program for the first game in Marlins history, and we decided to have Mr. Marlin, who was in the starting lineup, was introduced at Joe Robbie Stadium wearing the teal caps, came to the plate with the great Gazoo helmet.
Yeah.
What were you, 4 for 4?
I was 4 for 4. I remember that day well.
4 for 4, and he's going to autograph this. So an autograph Jeff Conine opening day program.
There you have it.
And that's going in the Super Duper Pledge Pack. And you can bid on this tomorrow night. It'll be part of the little board. It has everything that was in the Pledge Pack. Don Mattingly authenticated autographed baseball. The Conine bobblehead, which was autographed and authenticated. Billy the Marlin Back to the Future bobblehead. The Fox Sports 1 towel. The Tommy Bahama cap. The Team Store cap. And then we've added a ton of stuff. A Nolan Arenado baseball, which was signed.
My two sweet mates down there, Andre Dawson and Tony Perez, both Hall of Famers. They autographed baseballs for us.
We have the haircut from Hugo the Barber, Juice, down below here at Marlins Park. He is the famous barber in Major League Baseball. You get 4 tickets with a haircut with him. Well, we've got the Freddie and Chipper bobblehead. Chipper saves Freddie on the ATV, signed by Freddie Freeman. Am I missing? Oh yeah, and this. 2 of these, Niner. There you go, 2 of these. You can't get these. These are Nike undershirts that the players wear. And we've got a large and an extra large, and that's in the bag as well. I know I'm forgetting something.
Did you mention the Billy McFly bobblehead?
Yes, there's Billy McFly. And so the Super Duper Pledge Pack will be part of the little board tomorrow night. Ozuna calls off Yelich and makes the catch. And Adam Conley, 2 outs here in the 7th, trying to deliver this game into the 8th. You see the Braves box score. Not a lot of action, not a lot of hits. Just 4 of them for Atlanta.
I think the best part of Adam Conley's line right now is 0 walks. Not striking out a ton of people today. Only 3 strikeouts on the day, but no free passes.
And our thanks to Mike Fernance for donating that really nice artifact, the opening day program from 1993.
Speaking of artifacts, and when the Colorado Rockies came to town, I got to visit with Rene Latchman. He was the manager of that inaugural team. Latch and his brother Marcel, pitching coach. Two of the nicer, most well-respected people in the game of baseball.
Billy watching, arms crossed. Remembers last night when the Marlins had a 2-0 lead going into the 8th. So nothing is a done deal until it's a done deal. Did I show you the Ichiro bat we got?
Yes, I saw the Ichiro bat.
Pretty impressive.
Very cool.
If you know anything about Ichiro, you know that he handles the bats that he has with great care. He keeps them in a case. It's actually a humidifier. It's a hard case that is different from any I've ever seen a baseball player have. And so the bats that Ichiro gets, and you see when he walks how he lays the bat down. He's very respectful of those bats. So we have one of his game bats, and he signed it for us. It's authenticated, and that will be at auction tomorrow night as well as one of his bobbleheads. He has a special spot in the dugout, and if you are a teammate of his, you learn not to touch those bats. Just leave them be. See, all the way down, that's where everybody else's bats are, and they're in a pile. They're, you know, thrown in slots. There's the rack, kind of haphazard. And then Ichiro, just past Dustin Luker, Ichiro has his down middle of the bench. And after the game, he'll take them up, look at them, maybe polish them up, throw them in the humidor.
And those are there early, like right during batting practice. Those bats are put there. I saw one of the Japanese photographers taking pictures of it when Ichiro came out for batting practice at like 4:20.
Up the middle, diving stop, Echevarria! Terrific play. And Conley gets through 7 and hangs on to his shutout with a little help from his friends, Danny Echevarria. It's 3-0 Miami. Presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Beautiful day in Miami. Great day to be Adam Conley. This is a good sign too. Conley on deck. As the Marlins go to work, AJ Pierzynski is hot behind the plate for the Braves. Jeff Mathis leads it off. Ian Kroll into his second inning in relief. And the fastball finds the plate. It's 0-1. Ichiro due up third. Count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, Jeff Conine, our research department confirms that the Baltimore chop came from Baltimore. It's a little before your time, late 1800s. And it's named after that Baltimore team that was actually in the National League at the time. And they used to play small ball, chop at the ball, try to hit little choppers and beat it out to first base. Much like you did when you were a fleet-footed Oriole.
Yes. Very fleet. Like a fleet of ships on my feet.
Ian Kroll, whether you're a lefty or a righty, looks pretty nasty.
Numbers show that the righties are having much more success against him batting average wise, at 324 coming in, but look who's up to the plate. Adam Conley. He will be going out for the 8th inning.
Conley at 99 on the pitch count. Ian popped a few buttons with that swing. Marlins bullpen quiet. You know, the 6th inning, or rather the 7th, excuse me, was the closest thing he's had to a stressful inning. He's just been smooth and easy the whole game long. And I think that's the reason why there really hasn't been a stressful inning involved. 99 pitches. And Conley swings and misses and strikes out. And he'll get to the dugout and start thinking about the top of the 8th now. And here's Ichiro. We have talked about reverse splits in this ball game. And what we mean by splits is how, as a hitter, are you against lefties or righties, or as a pitcher against lefties and righties. And Conley, mysteriously, with that funk in his delivery, is tougher on righties than lefties, which is reverse from the norm. Well, Ichiro is that way. We've talked about Ichiro against lefties in his career, and his batting average against lefties in his career is significantly higher than righties. He's over 300 against righties. The last I saw, I think it was 328
and 308 against righties. So 20-point spread going against the same side, which there aren't many lefties that have that kind of split. You know, Christian Yelich is very good against lefties, but he's still 10 or 15 points below what his average is against righties.
So what is it about Ichiro's swing, which is unique among hitters, that makes him effective against lefties?
I would say early in his career, especially as that ball is going away, probably a slider or a breaking ball is going away, he could slap it to the left side of the field and beat it out. As you saw, Rich, early in his career, if the ball, if they played him at a deep shortstop position, a regular shortstop position, he would beat out most every ball that he hit on the ground. If this fielding position here was against Ichiro early on, it would be a base hit almost every time.
Swing and a miss. Sharp breaking ball. Ichiro strikes out, and Ian Kroll strikes out the side in the 7th. 3-0 Miami. Game summary brought to you by La Lechonera. And it started with a triple from Marcell Ozuna.
Laced this ball. One of only 2 hits given up by Gant from the windup.
That was from the stretch. And that stretched all the way up into the upper deck. And Miami had a 2-0 lead. Justin Bour with a home run.
How about this piece of hitting from Jeff Mathis? Off his shoe tops. And Jeff Francoeur with the cannon of an arm. Gets Chris Johnson at third base.
And the rest has been Adam Conley. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, Rich, one of the reasons, talking with Don Mattingly this week about his bullpen, he's used them quite a bit. If you look at the recent games, David Phelps has pitched 4 out of 5. Bear Claw has pitched 4 out of 5. Dunn has pitched 3 out of 4. McGowan's pitched 3 2/3 in a couple of the last 3-4 days. So he's probably thinking he's my best option. Last night he said after the game he would have gone with Fernandez even into the 8th had he had a less stressful 7th. Got up to almost 100 pitches, took him out. Conley, low 90s coming in.
Oh, good stuff. And for Conley, the job here is deliver it to A.J. Ramos. Marlins move Johnson from 3rd over to 1st. And Miguel Rojas is now at 3rd base. And Emilio Bonifacio, who started that game-winning rally last night, exits after striking out Pinch Penny, pinch hitter. Jeff Conine, you two can play like a champ if you use Just for Men. I know you don't. Jace Peterson, 210 Major League games. And last night was one that he'll remember. The Braves, when he homered, 6-1. And he homered last night. He erased the 2-0 Miami lead. And then in the 10th, he had that RBI single against Mike Dunn.
That was his first homer on the season last night.
Former defensive back from McNeese State, also a baseball player there. High draft pick of the Padres. He's another guy. When we were in San Diego, you take an inventory of the Padres, and you see the Petersons and the Trey Turners and guys that have been traded over the last couple of years. Really good young bunch of players. Count 3-1.
Yeah, he called that first pitch a strike, I believe, so it should be 2-2.
Now everybody's confused. It is. Oh, what did he put up? He put up 3-1 or 2-2? Apparently it was 3-1.
Apparently it was 3-1. I thought I saw him.
Yeah, 3-1. And you can see the confirmation from Mathis behind the plate. Jam shot. Echeverria's got it. And Conley's got 2 outs here in the 8th.
Conley's career high pitch count came earlier this year in that no-hit bid in Milwaukee with 116. Currently at 109. That's kind of a new term, Rich. Nowadays they use the stressful innings term to describe what's going on in the game and how stressful the pitcher is on trying to get out of situations.
Braves bullpen in motion again. Tyrell Jenkins getting loose. Adam Conley trying to get through 8. Little slider for a strike.
See, that's a good call. Pitch number 3.
He has reached 7 2/3 here, and that's the most he's ever pitched in a major league game. That was in Milwaukee, when at 116 pitches he was lifted. He had not given up a hit. Nick Whitgren in Miami's pen. 2 hops for Dietrich, who just gets the out at first. Adam Conley, outstanding. 8 shutout innings. It's 3-0 Miami. And Marcell Ozuna due up. He's due up third, and Danny Echeverria leads it off. 3-0 Miami on top. Ozuna triple. Of course, a couple nights ago, he had a pair of home runs. He also homered on Sunday. This is the major league debut of Tyrell Jenkins. A young right-hander. He's 23. Turns 24 in a month. Out of Henderson, Texas, where many thought he would be the next quarterback at Baylor, which is exactly what Baylor had hoped. They recruited him to play quarterback, a 4-sport star. Baseball, basketball, football, and he ran track. Originally signed with the St. Louis Cardinals. He was a first-round supplemental pick, so the picks after the first round before the second. 50th overall, and ended up in Atlanta when the Braves traded for Shelby Miller and gave up Jason Hayward and Jordan Walden. You gotta like the old school stirrups in a major league debut. Bouncer, he's going to handle his first out by himself. As Echeverria is out by less than half a step. MLB at bats get you up to the moment with game day. You've got live game video highlights, StatCast news, all that stuff. Just download it, MLB.com at bat. #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet. AJ Pierzynski, Christian Yelich. I'm sure there may have been a little "Hi, how are you?" from Phil Cuzzi as well. Yelich, a contentious strikeout his last time up. On a pitch that was out because he called it a strike. Yelich lingered at the plate for a while. Got his 2 cents in. And he's back up there. His 4th at bat.
You wonder if Phil, because he knew that he might have missed that pitch and let Christian Yelich have his piece, and there was no argument back. He just let him say a few things. A lot of times when you argue or stand there and argue balls and strikes with an umpire, you run out of there pretty quickly.
It's a great point that if Cuzzy felt he may have missed it, then he gave him a little more rope. As well, oftentimes during a game, there's dialogue between a hitter and an umpire in the next at bat when a hitter has gone to the video room and seen the pitch and seen where it lays on the Fox tracks. And it works both ways. Sometimes a hitter will come back and say, hey, I was wrong. Or other times he said, yeah, it was just out. Out second. Peterson to first. And Yelich is out. A.J. Ramos is ready. Adam Conley with 8 scoreless. Conley 114 pitches. The Marlins are hopeful that that phrase is used here in the next half inning.
And there were a few times when I was at bat and I would question an umpire, and I always did it very politically. I would ask him if it was as far in as it got or far out as it got. And a couple times they'd say, I missed it. How can you argue that?
What happens if you've said, is that as far out as it goes, and one goes out farther and is called a strike?
Then we got problems, Rich.
Then we've got beef.
Then I've got a beef.
Now,
legitimate beef.
And before this, the technology, the FX pitch tracking technology that not only do we use on our telecast, but umpires in Major League Baseball use to grade umpires and self-grade themselves. Long before then, it was Quest Tech, which was kind of the original technology that has evolved into this. But it wasn't in every ballpark, was it?
It wasn't in every ballpark, and we never saw it on TV. I don't even think we ever saw the stats. We knew the ballparks that Quest Tech was installed in, and it seemed like those strike zones were a little bit tighter than the other strike zones that it wasn't installed in.
Ozuna has a loud single to center, which kind of defeats the purpose, because I think the beauty of Fox Tracks is it lets everybody know where the ball was. And so it gives the umpires an idea when they go back and look at the DVD and get graded, which they do after every game in which they work home plate. It gives the hitters a better idea when they go back in and look at the video and say, oh, that was a strike, or hey, that was out. Even pitches that hitters swing at and miss, they're always curious to know where it was.
And during the course of a game, these guys are still really good. You know, we might question, or the players might question 5 or 6 calls during the course of a game, and Fox Tracks will show that it's just on the edge of that strike zone. We seldom see one that's well off.
It's hard really to fault an umpire when a pitch is an inch or 2 out and is called a strike. I mean, at 96 miles an hour with the ball cutting and darting and moving. Busted bat, and Jenkins goes to first in a successful Major League debut by young Tyrell Jenkins. Now it's A.J. Ramos. Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Sunshine and baseball in Miami this afternoon. Camp day as well. The campers have been very well behaved. Happy to report. Craig went up and visited them, some of those campers, up in the upper deck in right field, because that's where Justin Bour homered. And now it looks like the buses may be arriving, and a few of the campers are getting set to return to camp.
Man, I never got to go to a Major League camp or a Major League Baseball game during camp. Did you?
No. I never went to camp.
Me neither. There you have it.
There you have it.
But if I did, I don't think they'd be taking us to a Major League Baseball game.
Freddie Freeman is up first, and A.J. Ramos in here in the ninth. Ramos did work last night, but at the time it was a 2-2 ball game. The Jace Peterson homer in the eighth made it so.
So you grew up in the Bay Area, Northern California?
Yes.
Was it Frisco or San Francisco Giants or Oakland A's for you?
Well, it was easier to get to Oakland because of BART, which is the train system. Hard to get to Candlestick. You had to go BART and then take 3 different buses and go through some scary places.
Yes.
So as a 12, 13-year-old, my mom actually let me and my buddies hop on the trains and go. Oakland was an easier. Would get to Candlestick probably half a dozen times a year with my dad to watch. I mean, the early days when I was really young, to watch Willie Mays and Bobby Bonds and those guys, and then later watch the Jeffrey Leonard-led Giants. Little flip, and Ramos has got the first out. And for you, what was easier, Anaheim or Dodger Stadium?
Anaheim Stadium is a little bit easier for us than Dodger Stadium. Obviously, the traffic factor, getting to Chavez Ravine. But my dad was a Dodger fan. We did go to a whole lot of games, but I would say more Anaheim than LA. We used to go to Anaheim Stadium on 4th of July and watch the fireworks.
Here's Jeff Francoeur. So I'm assuming, since your dad was a big Dodger fan, that you only ate Farmer John meats and hot dogs.
Farmer John.
That's right.
Vin Scully. 67th year, is that correct, this year?
Final year. Wow. Unfortunate. But hopefully he still pops in on occasion and hops on the air. Always a big thrill in Los Angeles to see him, and this year it was, I want to say, 15 minutes before game time, and we were kind of standing around the booth, and he popped into our booth just to say hello. Well, hi everybody. 0-2 to Francoeur. Fastball from Ramos. Marlins Live post game brought to you by Checkers. Adam Conley, one of the best outings, if not the best outing in his major league career. Probably the second best outing. You have to go with the no-hit stuff for 7 2/3 in Milwaukee. Francoeur all tied up on the Ramos breaking ball. And there are 2 outs. And I think this one backed up more than AJ wanted it. He was shaking his head afterwards.
And that's oftentimes one of the hardest pitches to hit, when you know a breaking ball breaks a certain way and it comes in and it doesn't break that way. They call it the cement mixer. It's got all the rotation but none of the break.
Line shot, Markakis into center field. Not done yet. Nick Markakis with a solid hit. And here comes A.J. Pierzynski for his first at bat of the day.
Markakis not wasting any time getting to that nasty changeup or breaking ball from A.J. Ramos. His first fastball, jumps on it.
Pierzynski entered last inning as a defensive replacement. I'm not sure if he's in there because Tyler Flowers was injured or nicked up. That one is right back at Ramos, and that's into center field. So now the Braves will bring the tying run to the plate after 2 rockets.
This one was close. You see AJ just ducking out of the way. Markakis hit a ball. It wasn't that close, but it was also right up the middle. That's a scary thing for a pitcher.
So Ramos goes after Chase Darno. AJ did not face him last night.
2 fastballs away, the last 2 pitches, 2 hits up the middle. I know what AJ Ramos is going to throw here first pitch. I'm going to bet it's not a fastball.
Pierzynski the runner at first. Markakis at third, and the at-bat starts with a breaking ball for strike 1. Darno has popped out twice and walked. Obviously for the Braves, a very different look than Adam Conley for 8 innings from the left side. Darno chasing there. And it's 0-2.
That's why as a hitter you want to jump on that first straight fastball you see from AJ Ramos. His breaking stuff induces so many swings on balls out of strike zone. It tells you how nasty it is.
In the dirt. Of course, the Braves and the Marlins playing at Fort Bragg on July 3rd. Just noticed on the Twitter account have been followed by the 82nd Airborne Division out of Fort Bragg. And as thrilled as you guys are to have Major League Baseball, the players in both clubhouses are really excited to get there and play. 1-2 coming. Did not chase.
That's going to be a special night going up there. The Marlins kind of pioneers as far as going overseas and visiting trips. The first Major League Baseball team to ever have a trip over there in 2010, I believe. I won on the second one. Visiting the troops. It's a very special experience.
2-2. Now Ramos can't get Darno to chase, and the count goes 3-2. Eric Ibar is on deck. It started out as a quiet inning. Freddie Freeman tapped out, literally. Jeff Francoeur struck out. Line drive singles by Markakis and Pierzynski, and now it's 3-2 to Chase Darno. Breaking ball to left. Yelich is in. Ball game, and the Marlins seal the deal. AJ Ramos finishes what Adam Conley started, and what a magnificent day for the lefty from Olympia, Washington, and Washington State. Conley gets the win. He's now 4-4, and the Marlins shut out the Braves by a score of 3-0. Back to 4 over 500 for the Fish. Put a little pressure on those Mets. Marlins were a game back to the Mets when things started in the East. A lot to like about this. 2-run homer by Justin Bourque. Marcell Ozuna, 2 more hits, including a triple. Jeff Mathis drove in a key run as well. And on a day where Don Mattingly needed his starter to get deep, needed to rest that bullpen, he sure got it. AT&T high-speed replay.
Adam Conley absolutely outstanding today. Missed a lot of bats. Didn't see too many hard hit balls at all. You gotta love only the 1 base on ball. Didn't come until the 8th inning. Great defense behind him. All in all, look at this play by Danny Echeverria to end the inning in the 7th.
A lot of bad contact out there by the Braves. And so Conley gets the win. Marlins split with the Braves. Let's go down below with Craig Minervini. Craig?
All right, Rich, Adam just settling in after high fives. Nothing like those high fives after a game like that.
I enjoy it a lot when I was the one who pitched, and I made it long enough that I get to go through that line. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
No doubt about it. 8 innings today. How big was that to get that 8th inning, get through it, and set it up for AJ?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I want to be efficient all the time, but it seems like the last couple of starts I haven't been able to get as deep in the game as I'd like. So today the mission more so is to get ahead, throw a lot of strikes with the secondary stuff, and get as deep into that game as I could. I talked to Donnie about going back out there in the 9th, but I think they said I was at 114. So a lot of pitches, but pretty low traffic day today. Not a ton of guys on base and everything. So pitch count was up there, but overall pretty efficient day, pretty good.
Got a big out, I think, even in that 1st inning with Peterson getting over to 3rd base.
Yeah, it's really, regardless of the circumstances, you try and just focus on making pitches all game. And you know, sometimes the game is going to try and add some pressure to you and do some things, but what it all comes down to really is executing pitches. So that's what I tried to do all day. I've been trying to focus on not taking pitches off, understanding the importance of each pitch, and looking at some of the other guys in the game who are going 7, 8, 9 innings every start out there, it seems like, and paying attention to what they're doing out there, so I'm not having any wasted effort or pitches out there, so I can kind of use those later on in the game and get as deep as I can.
You know, it's hard to say this is better than when you were perfect in that 7 2/3 effort, but getting through the 8th inning, knowing you had the bullpen, which really has been weary, can you make an argument this was every bit as good as that one?
I think so. I talked about it a lot when I threw the 7 2/3 in Milwaukee. This game will suck you into believing that the results tell you more than they really do. So I think I made good pitches similar early in the count as I did in that start, which is where I think I was able to stay so efficient, is just getting ahead of hitters and kind of always being in a good count. A couple times there I had some deep counts against guys. Frank Gore was an example. I threw a slider to him 3-2, but yeah, just trying to execute every pitch its quality of a pitch to a quality of location as I can, so that nothing's wasted. And today there was 4 hits, a walk. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm as pleased with this start as I was with the Milwaukee one.
You are, and one thing that the pitchers have been able to rely on, the Marlins defense has been better than anybody else since late May. In fact, I think for the infield and outfield, they haven't even made an error. And in this ball game, you saw some big plays. How important is that for you?
Obviously, with me on the mound, and it's my, you know, I'm on the hook there for the win or the loss. You know, it's my ERA, all that stuff. But as a team, collectively over the years, the Marlins have played really good defense, and I think that Bone has a lot to do with that, just how good he is, and just the staff around us. But at the end of the day, the players that we're running out there on the field are committed to what we're trying to do here. They're good guys. The camaraderie's off the charts, and we have the tools. So, you know, you see Yelich out there and left, and even that ball in the corner that he doesn't come up with, you know, that's the kind of stuff as a pitcher that I like seeing my guys play that way for me. You know, he's going into the wall and stuff. He's playing hard for me and stuff. And defensively, that's kind of the character that we want to have. Echeverria, obviously. You know, if anyone else saw him today, they'd probably would just go on and on about him, but I see him do that every day. That's just how good of a player he is. So, yeah, they were awesome for me tonight.
Adam, last thing is, you were able to get a win, first one since mid-May, although you've pitched well enough to win in spots, but to have the W to go with your effort, it's got to feel real good for you and your club.
Yeah, my take on it is that if I'm getting deep into games, then there's a reason for it. You know, obviously, if I'm getting into the 7th, 8th inning, then obviously I'm doing some things right. And I think over the long run, the game of baseball will reward you with wins. But the most important thing to me really is getting as deep into that game as I can and giving my team the best chance to win.
Thanks for your time a lot.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Adam Conley, always good to talk to, and what a great performance today, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, always a very good interview as well, Craig. Terrific job down there for Adam Conley and Craig Minervini. Marlins Live is right around the corner as the Fish shut out the Braves. A mini 2-game series is split right down the middle. The homestand will continue tomorrow night. The Cubs and the Fish opening a 4-gamer. And of course, the Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction, which is always a fun night. See you tomorrow night. Actually, we'll see you on Marlins Live, which is next.